Ray is the president of W3 Consulting, a Washington, D.C. based consultancy providing small businesses, nonprofits, community-based organizations, and some small to solo law firms throughout the United States with practical approaches to business development using web and digital technologies. Ray is often hired or invited by economic development authorities, Chamber of Commerce's, SBDCs, and small business advocacy groups to speak to audiences on a myriad of management, web, and digital technology topics. So welcome, Ray, and thank you for joining us today, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you to the Virginia SBDC. If anyone has any audio issues, just please let me know as we move along, and I can jump over to the phone. But I wanted to get started today with just explaining Moore's Law. If anyone doesn't know what Moore's Law is the law that says that if you have a piece of technology, and this was really used in computer science world, but it pretty much said that transistors would basically be cut in half every 2 years. And the number of was that computers would get smaller.
Ray, you're going to need to switch to the phone. The audio's gotten pretty choppy.
And what we've seen over time is that let me jump over to the audio, the phone. I mean, let's see. Bear with me, folks. Okay, hopefully everyone can hear me clearly now.
Yes, it's much better. Thank you.
Okay, I'm hearing choppiness on my end, so just forgive me if I don't hear everyone else when they're speaking come through clearly. So let's get restarted. All right, so today's talk is going to be on what is the mobile web and why should small businesses plan for it. Just a couple of administrative items. If you happen to be on Twitter now or after the webinar and you'd like to go ahead and ask any questions or make any comments, go ahead and feel free to send those at W3 Consulting and send and hashtag that mobile small biz. So if you just want to hashtag that mobile small biz, I'll pay attention to those and I can go ahead and answer those. So I wanted to first and foremost go ahead and explain to everyone Moore's Law. I was starting before the audio broke up, but the point behind Moore's Law is that the sizes of computers, the size of technology will shrink over time, and the amount of power that that technology will have will increase over time, almost in double every 2 years or so. And what we've been seeing in technology is that law being proven time and time again. And so today's talk about the mobile web is really just a matter of talking about the fact.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, Web Events Made Easy.
Is something that you want to pay attention to and really plan for, just based on that premise that not that someday technology is going to get smaller. Technology is getting smaller every day, and all you need to do is pay attention.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, Web Events Made Easy.
So what today I want to do is just really explain what the mobile web is and why small businesses should go ahead and plan for it. We're going to talk about how mobile commerce really works underneath the umbrella of mobile web, because it's really where small business is going to spend most of their effort. And then I sort of want to give you not really a case study, but sort of an overview of what I would do in terms of just 3 strategic actions I would do if I were a local retail gift shop planning a mobile web or a mobile commerce plan, a marketing campaign. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about what the mobile web is. The mobile web itself has 3 basic components as it relates to small business. Those 3 components are that they're connected to the internet, whoever they are, that is the small business owner or the target audience, which could be you, could be your customers, it could be vendors, it could be other people as well. And so, you know, there's a broad scape of people who are connected to the web. We know that you know, people are connected to the web for browsing basic content, but they're also purchasing on the web. So the mobile web is about being connected to the internet. Its second point is that it's being connected on a mobile device. That is, you're connected by some type of device, whether it's a cell phone, smartphone, or tablet and laptop. And I'll talk about mobile devices and what they really are and how many of them are out there in the world in the next couple of slides. And then finally, they have the capacity to transact commerce. That is, the mobile web is about the fact that not only can you consume from a small business perspective on, you know, regular content, but that you can actually make purchases, you can actually do business directly there on the web. So those are the three sort of components of the mobile web. I want everyone to sort of keep that in mind, that your mobile device that you have is not stationary. That's sort of the point. And it's connected to the web all the time, whether that's over Wi-Fi or whether it's over you know, the cellular network and being brought in by wireless broadband. Okay, so you're transacting business on a mobile device connected to the web. Right. So next up is really talking about what a mobile device is. Many times people are confused about the fact that there are so many different varieties of mobile devices. The standard one you think of are cell phones. Cell phones, of course, you believe, you know, may or may not know, but most of them are called feature phones, and the feature phones themselves have the ability to go ahead and connect to the mobile web. They do that through web browsers that are built directly into the native operating system, and some of them have what are called native applications. That is, they're not just web browsers that are rendering websites, but they're actually applications that are using data over the web, you know, data that they're accessing from the websites out there and pulling them into an application that you use directly on the phone. So it's sort of a hybrid between, you know, a web browser and the web data. Okay, so that's pretty much out there, and I think a lot of people have confusion about the fact that they can't use the mobile web on a lot of the phones. So, you know, first and foremost, I would look at the technology that you currently have in your as infrastructure in your business and see whether or not you do actually have that capacity. SMS, which is short messaging service, MMS, which is mobile messaging, medium messaging service. Those are different, multimedia, I mean, and multimedia allows you to be able to send video and pictures and so on and so forth directly phone to phone. Okay, so you have a lot of different options when it comes to mobile devices that are specifically on feature phones, and a lot of people just don't know they exist. We then have smartphones, and we all know the iPhone and the Android, you know, the Android operating system, whether you have a Droid X or an HTC, other type of HTC product, or a Nexus phone. Those are the more, you know, fancy and you know, up-to-date application-based phones that we're seeing. But one of the other mobile devices that we tend to not pay attention to are gaming consoles. You know, so if your children have Nintendo DSs or other types of devices that connect over wireless networks, they can go ahead and use these tools not just for gaming, but also to browse the web. So more and more you're seeing these devices go the way of cell phones did, which was becoming convergence devices that had multiple capacities to do web-based activity. So really pay attention to mobile devices as they relate to cell phones and those types of handheld devices. Next up are laptops. A lot of people don't think of mobile devices as laptops as mobile devices, but I actually categorize laptops under mobile devices because we have so many different varieties of laptops out there that are getting smaller and more capable of always being connected to the web. For instance, the one that I'm showing on screen right now is the Google Chromebook. And what it is a new laptop that Google created with the help of Samsung as the first manufacturer. And this particular laptop model has an embedded broadband wireless card. And it comes with the purchase of the laptop, free for the first year, I believe. You get unlimited, not unlimited, but you get all the time access to the internet with your laptop. So you buy this laptop. It is an operating system that's completely web-based. So all of your applications are on the web. Everything you do is on the web. It turns on instantly. It turns off instantly. There's no booting like there is with a Windows or a Macintosh or any other operating system, because all it's loading is literally a browser. And you do all of your interaction on the web. So I really do believe this is a mobile device because you can take it anywhere. You can be in your car, you can be in a coffee shop, you can be anywhere and be able to connect. And more laptops are capable of being able to do that as well. So really pay attention to the laptop and the netbook market as they develop in terms of mobile devices for the mobile web. Next up are the tablet computers such as the Apple's iPad 2 and the Motorola Xoom. Again, those have native applications that can be downloaded and access web information, but then also they can also browse the mobile web using the web browsers that they have installed on the computers themselves. Okay. And then again, we have another device that people don't necessarily think about being a mobile device for the mobile web, but digital cameras. More and more, we're finding digital cameras and digital video cameras capable of automatically uploading and downloading content and also browsing the web. So you're going to see over time the development of these devices that will be able to interact with the web, and they'll be more and more sort of seamless as it relates to these things. So you're going to see across all of the devices on the screen these types of overlapping hybrid models that will allow you to be able to interact with the web. And those are going to be great marketing opportunities and also operational efficiency opportunities for small business owners. I noted here also that you have the Amazon Kindle Fire, which is a new product that the Amazon folks over there are developed and have recently launched. And it's basically a souped-up version of the Amazon Kindle, which is the ebook reader. Apple iPod Touch, which is the smaller version of the Apple iPad, and it's not a phone, but it's not an iPad. It's sort of the intermediary music player, but it also can have smartphone applications on there using the iOS operating system, and you can browse the web. The Barnes & Noble Nook, which was just launched a couple days ago, the new Nook that is, and its ability to do similar things to the Fire. It's an ebook reader, but it also can do some variety of web application type stuff. Okay, the market is developing; it's ever changing, but mobile devices are becoming more varied and more important as time goes on. And just to make this case even stronger, you're not alone. In terms of the U.S. Phone platform installations, we have a population in the United States as of this year about 312 million people in the United States. We have nearly 250 million mobile users in the market today, and that's what the chart shows. It shows the 250 million mobile users that are out there, and 80% of that means 80% of Americans have a mobile phone sitting in their pocket or sitting in their drawer or at their home right now. And many of those people are turning off their landlines and going exclusively to mobile phones. So as this market becomes more powerful, you're going to see that that 80% mark is going to keep increasing until it becomes the super majority, if it isn't already, in terms of how phone-based communication happens, as well as text messaging communication, and then future web communication. And right now, I really want to impress upon everyone that first you see that most of the market here, the chart here that you're seeing, if you can't read it, the top blue section is actually the non-smartphone users. Okay, so the bottom 50 million or 75 million users of the mobile web, on U.S. phones are using those devices on smartphones, whether that be Android, Palm, Blackberries, Apple iPhones, or other iOS devices. But that top tier, all of that are non-smartphone users. So the reality is that the market, as I'm going to talk about when we get to mobile commerce, is not necessarily just about getting people who have smartphones to interact in your stores and so forth, but getting people who have normal, everyday, regular feature phones as well to be able to interact with them. And you have to cater to that market because they're the largest. They're the 80%, if you know the Pareto principle. They're the 80% that you want to be able to target in terms of giving most of your effort. All right, so really think about where you're putting your effort into. But the majority are non-smartphone users, and the final point I want to make as it relates to mobile web and sort of smartphones and the way it happens is that when you have a mobile phone in your hand, you have a phone number that's really dedicated to an individual, not necessarily to a group of people. What it does is it makes that particular phone one of the most personalized forms of mass media today. If you look at television, radio advertising, or any other types of large direct advertising, even direct mail advertising goes to a household. It doesn't go to a specific person. And so, you have the ability with the mobile web and with mobile marketing to really affect the individual, to really make change with that particular person and to connect with that person one-on-one. So really think about the ways in which you're targeting your customers based on the mobile web and really, working on it from that direction backwards. All right, so let's move on to the fact that the mobile web also mobile browsing outpaced desktop browsing in 2008. So I think that anyone who thinks that this is still new or fostering new stuff or that's in its infancy, you have to get over that perspective. The reality is that most of web browsing today happens on a mobile device, and it's happening all around you because people are walking around on their phones, and whether they're using most of those people are using non-smartphones, they're using the mobile web on feature phones, but people who are on smartphones as well are much more actively using the web on their phones. So just keep in mind that the mobile web is there, it's present, and it's a very large majority of folks. Okay. So how does the mobile commerce work? This is something that a lot of people have trouble with because they don't understand where it fits in the hierarchy of the mobile web. So the mobile web itself has various tiers. And I'm talking about mobile commerce specifically because it fits into a tier that is, that is the one that small business can affect, which is transacting business. Okay, but in various areas of the mobile web, you have social networking, and you have other types of areas where the mobile web touches. But I'm going to specifically talk about mobile commerce because it's commerce, and that's what small business wants to be able to use it for. So, though there are many different areas of the mobile web, and for time, I'm not going to really get into them, and we could talk about this in the question and answer discussion period, but just know that the mobile commerce area is where you really want to spend most of your time, and that covers targeting, your consumers, which is going out there and listening to what they're saying using their mobile devices. It's using advertising, mobile advertising, which could be text-based advertising, SMS, which is short messaging service, and MMS, which is the multimedia service messaging. Mobile advertising being advertising that's rendered on mobile devices, and that's a mass marketing tool. And then of course in-app, or what we call in-app marketing, which uses Google AdWords mobile as well as Yellow Pages and other types of ad networks to be able to publish ads within applications on smartphones. So as you're working within an application, you can actually see an ad and then be taken to it as well. Mobile commerce consists of mobile promotions, which could be putting promotions in through social location services like Foursquare, and I'm going to talk about that later, and QR codes, where you can actually put these little 2D barcodes in particular areas of your printed materials as well as your web materials and get people to connect to your mobile websites and your mobile assets out there with their smartphones. So lots of different options in the mobile promotions world. Next up is mobile SEO, which is getting your website found using a mobile device from a mobile search. So from the image I showed you earlier of the Google search screen, those people are going to Google and they're typing in searches on their mobile phone, and when they render those, they want to be able to have them appropriately shown. And of course, there's mobile apps and developing mobile apps and mobile websites, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. So either way, let's move on. I just wanted to give a brief overview of that. First and foremost, I wanted to talk about mobile commerce in the context of developing microsites. That is the idea of developing an internet that is made for mobile. And .mobi is the domain extension. ICANN, which is the organization that creates and manages the extensions for the web, whether that's .com or .biz or .us or .org. And they created .mobi, and the idea behind that, with partnership of the World Wide Web Consortium, W3 Consortium, which has no relation to W3 Consulting, but similar names, and the W3 Consortium went out there and they tried to create a platform in which there were standards for being able to develop on the mobile web. Okay, so .mobi is what you really want to start looking into if you're thinking about developing a mobile site that is specifically geared toward the mobile community. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't go ahead and register a .mobi domain and use that for your mobile site. But as I'm going to show you in a moment, you probably don't need to do that unless the site is a mobile-only portal, so to speak. So think about .mobi in terms of the accessibility standards and usability standards that you're looking for. So look up .mobi in your spare time and think about how the .mobi standards for the mobile web affect your movement going forward. So developing a .mobi site, think about it for purposes of a mobile-only portal. And so if your business is completely virtual and you're only looking for a crowd that's on the mobile web, you can go ahead and develop a Mobi site. Otherwise, you can go ahead and register the domain and potentially use that for directing traffic to your site from that domain if you were advertising that domain, yourbusiness.mobi. So the next one up is making it easy for your target audience just by developing a mobile site. And you do that, I'm showing you on screen one of my favorite web applications called Remember the Milk. It's a task management application. And what they've done is they've created a website that is which M stands for mobile, m.rememberthemilk.com. They could also put rememberthemilk.com/m, which Google does. Google has their products as google.com/m, and then whatever the product name is. Or they could put, yourbusiness.com/mobile, whatever it might be. Either way, you can use these various, modifications of your domain name in order to create a site that's very user-friendly. And here, that is user-friendly on a mobile device, which has small screens, and you have to use your thumbs or index fingers to be able to get around it. So you want to be able to make it easy to view and see and so forth. But think about it if you were trying to render Remember the Milk, which is on the left-hand side of your screen, on a small smartphone screen or even on a mobile browser. It would be very difficult to navigate. And from the image here, I don't even know how to log in. There's a login button on here somewhere, but it would be very difficult for me on a feature phone to be able to log into this website and to figure out what to do on it. But as you can see on the right-hand side, the one that I've pulled up on my iPhone browser, it gives me very, very explicit, easy instructions. I have a username and a passwords field. If I click in those, it gives me the keyboard to be able to type in my username and password, and I can go right into the product. Okay? So that's really what I'm talking about when I'm saying making it easy for the target audience. So when you're talking about mobile, the mobile web and mobile commerce, you want to start thinking about making these types of aspects really easy for your audience. Now notice that Remember the Milk doesn't give me a sign-up screen on the mobile site. Well, they've decided that the likelihood of me signing up for the service is slim to none if I'm going to the mobile site directly from my mobile phone. The likelihood is that I signed up on my desktop, and so therefore they cut that feature out. And so this is also another aspect of the mobile web, which is determining what your audience really needs and wants, and going ahead and paring it down for the mobile web so they have immediate access to the most important things that they do. Again, for you, it means that you don't have to do everything on the mobile web. Okay, you don't have to have your mobile site, have all the bells and whistles that your normal site does. You can pare it down to just the key features that are important to you and your customers, and go ahead and put those on there, and then be done with it. Okay, so really think about making it easy for your target audience by putting the most important items on your mobile website for them to access, and putting it in a format which they can read it. So that means making the text and the imagery capable of being able to be seen and understood clearly. So next up, I want to talk about the idea of actually moving money. And what I'm showing on screen here is a device called the Square. And many of you might know this or may have heard of it. But one of the owners of Twitter left Twitter or partnered with folks. I don't know if he necessarily left Twitter, but he went ahead and partnered with some other folks, and they developed this product called Square. And Square can be plugged into several jacks of all the various smartphones, BlackBerry, iPhone, and Android devices and so forth. And you plug it in, you download an application, and it becomes a credit card machine. It becomes a credit card processing merchant services device. And it has pretty much the same or competitive rates to PayPal, and so you have no monthly fees or anything like that. And now instead of having to have a cash register in your retail shop and doing all of those things, you literally just have this little tiny free device you plug into your iPhone. Anyone on staff could have the various credit card machines set up and available for their smartphones. And now everyone on staff could basically, have their cash registers in their pockets as they're walking around and interacting with customers. So this is that next step of really thinking about how you're interacting with your customers, not just when they're away from your retail shop or away from your business location or wherever, but when they're in your space as well. I really think that a lot of people think about mobile as being the customers moving around, but the reality is that as small business owners, you know that you probably are moving around quite often as well, even if it's just within your physical space, trying to deal with customers and so on and so forth. But even when you're out at a meeting with a customer, if you're a service-based business and you meet a customer at their office, now you have the ability to be able to go ahead and transact business right there with them when they're ready to sign the contract. They can go ahead and put their down payment or whatever they need to do in terms of paying for your services live on the spot. So these types of devices are coming out. There are other ones out there and other types of products. PayPal has a PayPal mobile application on the mobile web, so you're capable of taking payments directly from those places. So just start thinking about how the mobile web can be integrated into your offline operations as well as your online operations just by the use of these types of mobile devices. Breezing along, if you happen to not want to go ahead and develop mobile device, mobile applications and so on and so forth, just know that Google is creating all sorts of mobile applications for the web, and they're being built and in droves. I mean, there are tons of developers at Google who are developing these things. Pay attention to what Google is producing and try them out. But Google is developing all of the applications that you might need as a small business owner, and they're getting better every day. So really pay attention to what they're doing. I mean, just from their mobile applications that are developed for managing email and Google Voice, which allows you to be able to manage telecommunications on the web. As a small business owner, you're really capable of using so many of these tools from a mobile perspective. Here I'm showing Google+, which is Google's new social identity service. And you can see that they didn't think about their mobile application, mobile web application as a secondary item. They built Google+ right along with the mobile web in mind. So they're not thinking about this as a secondary anymore. They're thinking about it right along with all of their other web properties. Okay. And then next, when in doubt whether to develop an iOS or Android OS application, go ahead and default to the mobile web. So let me take a step back here, which is that many small businesses think about the idea that they may at some point develop a smartphone application or a mobile application for their target audience. That is, if your customers want to be able to log into they can download your application, go on their phone, log into your application, and be able to interact with your products or services. Excuse me, and do various things. Maybe you provide a particular type of analysis within the application that's important to your customers, or you have a catalog within the system for you to be able to do those things. Well, sometimes people get very mired in the idea, well, do I put my investment into an iOS device, into the Apple products, or do I put them into Android, or, to put them on the Android market? All of this costs money in development time and expense, and sometimes small business owners don't have that luxury. Well, if you're really in that point when it comes to things, go ahead and decide to actually develop it for the mobile web instead. That means that you're using the standards that I was talking about in the .mobi project. And if you go to World Wide Web Consortium and look up mobile web standards, you can go ahead and talk to your web developers about developing the application using the standards basically under HTML5, which is the programming language that we talk about when we talk about the mobile web. And that language allows you to be able to set it up so that just like this YouTube site, Google has YouTube applications for all the platforms, but they also have a YouTube mobile web application. And as you can see here, it looks just like the one that I would have on my mobile phone as a smartphone app, and it works just as well. So it loads the images, loads the videos. I can search through the videos. I can connect with friends and leave comments. And so, I can do everything that I need to do on a basic functional perspective with YouTube all right from the mobile web. I didn't have to download an application or anything like that. And each of these applications that you download on smartphones, people have to sort of remember that you're taking up space on your smartphone or on your computer, on your tablet or whatnot, and that slows it down over time. So I really like the idea of a mobile web application because you can use them just by going to an address. If I go to m.youtube.com, it's going to take me to the mobile web app, and I'm going to be able to use it just like I would the smartphone application, but without all the hassle of having to go find it and download the application and log in and so on and so forth. I can use my Google account that I'm logged into already, go right to m.youtube.com and do that. And you can do the same thing with your applications. You can use the Google account, what they call the open authorization system, and you can go ahead and use someone's logged in Google account to basically give them authorization to your own site, and it identifies them and puts them through, and then they could be logged into it right directly from the mobile web. So think about that when you're talking to your mobile web developers or to your web developers in general about developing a mobile site or developing a mobile web application, is to think about the mobile web first before you think about them as native applications for iOS or Android. That doesn't mean that you don't do it down the road, but if you just take the web application and what we call mask it, or you can basically mask it in the application code necessary, but you're using the website with the housing of the operating system to create the applications, and that's far cheaper than going ahead and developing one native for the application. Now that means that you might not have access to some things like GPS, and which is the geolocation abilities of the phones and some of the native the cameras built into the phones, but more and more HTML5, again that web programming language that allows you to be able to write for the mobile web, is giving you that functionality. So keep working on creating mobile web applications if you're limited in funds and time and energy, and think about the native applications sort of secondarily. All right, moving right along, I wanted to talk about what I would do in terms of the top 3 things I would do if I were a local retail gift shop, and what I would do in terms of mobile web strategy. One is that I would want to think about things from a mobile advertising perspective, how I would do promotions and publicity as it related to connecting with my target audience, as well as my potential, my current customers and my potential target audience, my potential customers. And then finally, I would want to be able to connect with them on a mobile e-commerce basis. I'd want to be able to track what business I could get out of them in terms of revenue. And I want to be able to be found. So that's the final one, which is being found by the mobile web. And as I talked about with mobile SEO, I really want to be found on the mobile web when someone does a search. So these are the 3 key items underneath that strategy that I would use when it comes to that. So as a local retail gift shop, I am situated in a town, and so therefore I have about a 5-mile radius of business and that comes to me, in terms of people who go ahead and patronize my business. And so I really want to focus on those people who may be traversing town and coming in and out of that area. And so what I've decided to do as my first strategy is to go ahead and put out some ads on Google AdWords mobile system. It's called AdMob. And as you can see here on screen, what the Google AdWords does is that not only within the mobile web searches, but also within applications and anywhere else on the mobile web, Google goes ahead and has this publishing network so that people can put advertisements directly in. I mentioned this earlier about in-app advertising as well as Google AdWords mobile advertising. And so as you can see, there's a small ad here, and what it does is it's giving people the ability to go ahead and click on that link and take them to a mobile website where they can interact with my brand. In this case, somebody wants me to click on this link and go ahead and follow this company on Twitter. Well, you can get people to go ahead and follow you on Twitter, or to be taken to your online retail mobile website and see about the site. It can show directions to the store. It can automatically launch the application on your phone that tells you where you are and gives you directions to your store. So there are lots of different things that I could use advertising for, but I definitely want to use a small amount of my marketing budget to think about advertising on the mobile web here, because it's really cheap, it's very inexpensive, and it allows me to be able to really hyper-target by zip code, by demographics, by the devices that the people are using, to be able to target and convey a call to action to the people that I'm trying to reach. So I would definitely use Google AdWords Mobile to be able to do that, Google AdMob. So I would go into Google AdWords and I would put out, at least 30 to 40 different types of advertising, and that depends on your business. But for a local retail shop, I could see about 20 to 30 or 40 different types of ads that tell people to do different calls to action at different times of the year. So during Valentine's Day, I would have various Valentine's Day promotions and other things going on, and I would want to target the right audiences. So I target husbands and wives during that time frame, people who are trying to buy presents for spouses, and I would talk about little things that were fun within the ads to get them to go ahead and follow me on Twitter, to fan me on Facebook, as well as to stop by the shop and so forth. So Google advertising would work really well here for a retail shop. Again, it's engaging with my current and potential customers. I just wanted to spend a minute talking about Foursquare, because Foursquare is not widely used, because a lot of people who are not on smartphones are not using Foursquare. But for a majority of the people who are on smartphones and are using Foursquare, are not just talking about Foursquare among other Foursquare users. What they're doing is they're syndicating that content among all of the social networks. So although you'll hear a lot of talk about the fact that you may not use Foursquare, you may not even know what Foursquare is. I'm going to explain that in a moment. But note that Foursquare itself is not the point. The point is to get your name and your brand out there in other areas, other types of media on the web, and this is one vehicle in which to do it. So what I would do is use Foursquare. So Foursquare is a tool in which you check in on your smartphone wherever you are, so that your friends know where you are. So for instance, if I go to the coffee shop, I could go to Foursquare, I open up my application, and I check in. I press a little button that tells me you're at the coffee shop. And well, for instance, let me say the local retail gift shop. I log into the application and I check into the retail gift shop, and there I am. And now everyone who knows me and is following me on Foursquare knows that I'm on there. I also happen to syndicate that material out to Twitter and to Facebook, and so automatically that information goes out to Facebook as well as Twitter. And if friends are nearby, or if they're interested in the content, or if they, for instance, needed me to buy something, or they wanted to remind me about their birthday, because they want me to buy them a present, well, guess what? At that moment, they can go ahead and send me a text message, or go ahead and message me on Facebook or on Foursquare itself or Twitter, and let me know about those things right directly in real time. So while I'm standing in that retail gift shop, I can be alerted to all of these various interesting things. You as a small business owner, though, have the ability to log into Foursquare and what's called claim a location, or claim your site. So you I would claim my retail gift shop, and what I would start doing is doing a couple of things. One is I would start pushing out promotions that allow people to go ahead and see the various types of promotions that are going on at my retail gift shop. The way that works is that if I check in a place that's nearby the retail gift shop as a user, it's going to tell me that there's a promotion going on at your gift retail shop that's nearby. And so it's going to alert me to it's going to alert me to promotions that are in my area, even if I don't go to your specific area, which is really powerful because it's free and it's advertising you, it's marketing you in a way in which you couldn't do. You couldn't go ahead and tell people who are in your vicinity that you were having a promotion when they showed up at your the dentist office down the street or something like that. But Foursquare has the ability to go ahead and drive that type of traffic. The other thing that you can do is, and the other thing that I would do, is that I would go out onto Foursquare and go to my my local, colleagues, the folks who are in the area, local businesses, and start posting tips, what are called tips in Foursquare. You can log into Foursquare and go to a location, and you can go ahead and leave tips. And they have to be, cogent. I mean, you can't spam people. But if you happen to sell retail, items that are not sold, for instance, at the local department store, you can go to the local department store's Foursquare site, and you can leave a tip that lets them know, hey, if you're looking for that really wonderful blouse for your mom for the holidays, well, we sell that over here at the retail gift shop. By the way, we have a promotion going on through X date for these particular products. Now, someone who checks in at the retail department store is going to say, hey, I wanted that blouse for my mom for the holidays, and this retail gift shop has it, and they can literally, about face and go drive down to your shop, which is down the street, and get the product that they need and want, all from the tip that you've left on the other site's tips page, Facebook Foursquare page. So what you have is the ability to go ahead and, for free, let people know about really important promotions that are going on in your business and so forth. So I would definitely use Foursquare and think about them from those three capacities. And then finally, I would go ahead and get myself registered on Google Places. Google Places is sort of the thing that took over Google Local and the Google Local Business Center and all those other parts. But basically what it is when you go to Google, whether that's on your mobile phone or otherwise, and you type in a search for a keyword, or type in your business name, which is probably rare, but when you type in a keyword, if I typed in retail gift shop and in Alexandria, Virginia, well, Google Places would come up if I registered my gift shop in that category, and it would tell them exactly where I was, if I put in hours of operation, if I had any current offers, promotions, discounts, various events that were going on at the shop. It would tell them all of that information right there at the top of the screen so that you'd be able to access it. So if you have a retail location and you want to be able to push content on the mobile web in terms of being found, this is a great way to be found and to call someone to action all in the same fell swoop. And again, it's free. Google gives you the ability to do it all for free. So with that, I'd like to just let everybody know again that you have the ability to go ahead and ask me questions after this on Twitter. Just go ahead and hashtag #MobileSmallBiz. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tracy. Tracy? Well, if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and use the questions panel on the GoToWebinar tool, and I'll be happy to go ahead and attempt to answer any questions that people might have. And I see a hand raised. Go ahead. Is that June Lee?
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
Hi.
Yeah, and I have a question, and I type it there. Actually, my question is, when somebody open your website from the mobile, and how does it go to the mobile website directly? For example, I have main website, and I have a different page for the mobile version. And how does people know, or when they use the phone, how it works?
Yeah, there's a number of different ways. Actually, June, if you could go ahead and mute yourself now. Okay, so to answer your question, what you can do is you can go to a website called mobilemoxie.com, M-O-B-I-L-E, so mobile, Moxie, M-O-X-I-E.com. And right on the site there are some free mobile tools. And one of those mobile tools is a browser redirector. And what it does is it detects a person being on a mobile device, and it will redirect them from your main website to the mobile website so that they're capable of going ahead and seeing the mobile content instead of seeing the standard website. So if you have a mobile website and you have a standard website and they're separate from each other, you can go ahead and use Mobile Moxie for free to just throw in that code so that you can redirect people to the mobile website. Okay, I hope that answers your question. If not, go ahead and raise it again, and I'll be happy to attempt to answer that. And I'm trying to open up questions here. Ronnie, you had a question? Let's see. Oh, let's see. I'm opening up the panel here. Sorry, I'm trying to do too many things. Oh, Jarrett was asking what my Twitter address is, and it's excuse me, it's at W3 Consulting. So W, the number 3, Consulting, CONSULTING. So that'll answer that question. And let's see. Ronnie's asking, can you go to any web designer to get your mobile website set up, or does it have to be a specialized type of service? And the answer is most likely that your web designer would have to have understanding of the mobile web and have some understanding of the mobile technology. So yeah, you would probably have to ask that mobile designer, that web designer, whether they knew anything about mobile web standards, and go ahead and have them, go ahead and make your decision, your purchase decision based on that. And so that's that. And any other questions before we wrap up? I have my email address and my phone, as well as my new Google Plus page for my business, W3 Consulting, right there on the site, on the page in front of you, so you can go ahead and follow us on Google Plus and ask any questions that you might have. And so, June, did I answer your question? Let me see.
Yeah. Yes.
June? Okay, you're all answering. Okay, wonderful.
Ray, can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi, Tracy.
Okay.
How's it going?
Sorry, finally got my microphone working again. I had a question about the Google Places and the use of reviews and encouraging customers to review your services or place of business.
Say the question one more time for me.
Google Places, does it allow you to encourage your customers to review your services, and is that something that folks should be encouraging people to do?
Yeah, you have to do that. You have to do that manually. There's a review process very similar to Yelp or to Angie's List or any other place like that, whereas Yelp is free and Angie's List is a paid service. You do have the ability to get reviews directly from your customers, but you do have to ask for them. So similar to testimonials or anything else like that, you would want to go out there and let your customers know, whether that's through your email marketing newsletter or through Twitter or Facebook or whatnot, and on your regular advertising, in your email signatures, ask them to go ahead and leave a review directly on your Google Places and Google Places page, yeah. And go ahead, and what I like to do is actually just print it right on your receipts. A lot of merchant services machines, registers, have the ability to print a receipt and to customize the text on there. Go ahead and create a short URL that directs people right to the Google Places page to leave a review.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for Ray? Well, thank you everyone for joining us today for this webinar. We will be doing a third webinar, topic still to be determined, on November 17th, so look for an email from the Virginia SBDC announcing that. And I also wanted to let people know that Ray is available to do one-on-one counseling on questions about social media or the mobile web. Please contact your local SBDC center that you've already done counseling with to set up a time with Ray, or you can contact me directly at tnayar@gmu.edu to schedule a session with Ray. And with that, thank you everyone for joining us today.